Hello, everyone. This is Matthew Brand. Welcome to Magnum Creed. And if you're not familiar, back in, I believe it was July 3rd, Extra Credits, a very big YouTube channel that I actually enjoy very much, published a video that talked about Nazis in video games. Now, they decided to keep it up. They kept the likes and dislikes up, and they kept the comments up, which I very much respect. But if you go into the comment section, what you'll find is that a lot of people are upset about the video. And I heard about this video by watching an older video, an older Extra Credits video, where they were talking about video games and what was the topic? It was talking about games being used as propaganda. That's right, propaganda games, usually given away as free or cheap, or to people, young people, to get them to conform to military or something later on, whatever the case may be. And people were comparing that to the video that came out on July 3rd, about stop normalizing Nazis. So if you haven't seen that video, what they are basically criticizing is a couple video games where you're playing, and one of the in the newer video that everybody doesn't like, you play as a side that of Nazi or a terrorist, right? There's multiple video games where when you're playing multiplayer, you end up as a terrorist or a Nazi, and there's not really, because it's just simple multiplayer, there's not really much of a, how do you put it? How do you put it? There's not much of a story. There's not much involvement. There's not much explanation. There's not much detail to it. So basically, you're just playing, and then you just end up as a Nazi. A lot of times, you end up as a Nazi, or you end up as a regular person. But people who have played these video games that they're talking about have, and I've watched videos commenting on it in the comments, you're not really playing as a Nazi. You're playing as a German side during World War II, and wearing a shape that's not a swastika, but I mean, it is kind of used in place of it, basically. But the point is, you're basically playing as the Germans during World War II, which was obviously controlled by the Nazi Party. So what they were saying was, this shouldn't be that simple, right? You should never play as it. And I get both points. Right. We have an issue where people are upset and want to control gaming recently. I don't think Extra Credits is one of those people. I understand their message, but I don't think they're one of those people. However, that is going on in the gaming industry right now. What you have is a lot of people saying, oh, we shouldn't be shooting terrorists, or, oh, we shouldn't be shooting these certain group, strictly black people. Oh, it made me feel uncomfortable. This game shouldn't come out. And that's caused honest amount of backlash. And it's understandable, right? Because at a certain point, right, you shouldn't shoot Haitians. So why should a video game be limited to killing nothing but white people or white men? You know what I mean? Like, it gets a little silly, right? And if you want to sanitize it, like, oh, make every group equally diverse, like put an algorithm in there, every person that you fight is diverse or something like that. Like, I get, every game can't be Skyrim where you're walking around killing lizards all the time, whatever. That there has to be a point. Now, here's the deal. If you're going to always, every single video game, have a white male protagonist shooting minority women or something like that in every single video game, that's a little, it gets redundant. And yeah, I think it would get engraved in a lot of people's heads. But in those couple games, I don't think it's going to be that high of an impact. However, I do agree with what Extra Credits is saying. We have, in our society, normalized Nazis a bit. It's honestly, they're a day late and a dollar short. Now, yes, they're saying stop normalizing Nazis, but I wouldn't really say video games are the problem. But I do get I do understand where they're coming from. I've talked to a lot of World War II veterans who are just absolutely horrified that there are people in America who decide to wave the Nazi flag. And yes, we have freedom here, and that's what they fought for, but they can't believe that that's what people have chosen to do with that freedom. It bothers me too, right? Like, we get freedom to say things, and then certain groups of people right and left, use that to hurl every insult they could possibly think of at people who aren't doing anything to them, and uh, towards groups of people where maybe they're bothered by a couple people, but for the most part, there's a large amount of people not doing anything to them, and they have every insult in the world to say. But then they go, "Well, I have freedom of speech," and they should have freedom of speech. However, it is, I believe, using the freedom in that manner is wrong, and you're not that it should be illegal, but it's still misdirected, right? Like I don't think it should be illegal to, you know, paint your house a stupid color. I don't. I don't think it should be. I think freedom of expression. It's your house. You pay for it. You do whatever you want to. But if you make, your house polka dot and is aggravating all the neighbors, just because you can, I think you're being an ass. It's just case in point. So that all being said, there is a certain level of understanding we had to come. I take the extra credits video. I didn't mind it. I liked it. I'm glad they published it. Do I think it's really video games that's causing most of the normalization? No. But I do agree with what they said, that video games can do better, right? They can give some understanding to what it was like for people to be in Nazi Germany during that time period, at least maybe in a campaign or something. But from what I hear, these games are not the biggest offenders in the world. But yes, there is a problem in general with the culture, right? We call everybody a Nazi, right? Really, every time we don't like somebody, when it was Obama, they had with pictures, walking around with posters with Obama with a Hitler mustache on his nose. I used to see it all the time driving to work. And then now everybody's calling Hitler a Nazi. I'm sorry, not Hitler. Hitler was a Nazi. Calling Donald Trump a Nazi. You get what I'm saying, right? He is equivalent to our modern day Satan, right? When we take out religion, right, we don't see Satan as much anymore because a lot of religion has been, washed away. So now we have Hitler as the modern day Satan, and we use him to condemn every person we don't like, right? Like, oh, this is a person doesn't agree with my views, they're a Nazi. So yes, I do believe we are normalizing Nazis. However, I wouldn't make video games the major culprit of it. But because Extra Credits focuses on video games and they do realize that yes, they do have a strong impact, we have to draw a line to where that impact is. And I don't think they're saying that people, playing a video game makes you a Nazi, but I do believe they're saying like, okay, if a bunch of people say a certain word, like the B word, enough, right? Eventually it's going to lose its impact and people just get called that. Some person got really mad at me when I said that, but it's true. And someone said, we should never, use such a degrading word so much that it gets normalized. I'm like, well, you're too late. You're a day late and a dollar short. People use it all the time now. And that's just how it is. It's part of the normal vocabulary, where older generations, they had a much better, they used it in, they're more thoughtful about what they said. In this generation where we put everything on social media, nothing's filtered, nothing's considered depraved or too bad or insulting. We say whatever comes to our mind. If we get a whim on it and want to feel free, people shave half their hair off and walk around with tie-dyed mohawk. Nothing's really that sacred anymore. So I think they're a day late and a dollar short, but I do agree with their sentiment that we can do better. And if we did better in the video games, perhaps it could push things in other directions. So honestly, I do agree with Extra Credits to an extent. And I don't think their video was like one of the words. Like all this backlash against the video, I think is a little overdone. Just people jumping on the bandwagon. It's not that bad of a video. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Extra Credits, for making the video. And God bless everyone. Have a good day.